Uh,
Okay, I can hang
All
up.
right, you too. Bye-bye. Ooh, dog.
Okay, is this good? Because I tried to do it like I normally do for Brian's, and it looked completely different and said that we're not paying for Zoom Workplace and there was no meeting that could be hosted.
Oh,
I almost had a fucking heart attack.
you're like, what?
Yeah, I
All right,
missed that out.
Johnny, and that was a long call. You gotta have a buyer consult.
Good for you though.
Yeah.
Okay, so am I host now? And then if McKenna goes and joins, I can make her host.
Cool.
Thank you, McKenna.
Bye.
All right, let's see. So I don't know which one. I'm just gonna put us both as hosts.
Perfect. And I think that we can have a third. Well, I'll need to make Vanessa. So it'll be me.
Vanessa doesn't need to be a host.
Okay. I thought it like highlights her or something.
You just pin her. Just
Okay,
pin her
perfect.
up.
And then I can make McKenna host to let people in and monitor the chat.
Yeah.
Go ahead and close this. And then Brian wants me to stand.
Oh, yeah. Have you talked to him?
No. He just, when I did the other one, he was like, you should have been standing. And I was like, oh, okay. So we're standing now. It's my new stand-up desk. Okay.
All right. Are you feeling all right?
Oh, hang on, let me turn my volume up. What'd you say?
Are you feeling all right?
Yeah. I mean, I was spazzing when the Zoom wasn't saying it was going to work, but then when I went in another way, it worked. So she's still not here, but hopefully she hops on. Should I text her and just say,
She's gonna, I just told her like 5 minutes ahead of time.
oh, perfect. Here's McKenna. Okay. Thank you, McKenna, for the help. Sorry for the crash out, but I was about to spaz when I saw it wasn't working.
No, 100%.
You don't have a Zoom Workplace. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? Okay. We're
Well,
upside down. All right, I'm gonna make you co-host.
Thank
So
you.
you can let people in, and then I'm gonna say at the top of the call, hey guys, we're gonna have a Q&A at the end. So please save your questions for then. Because I think it gets really weird when people are like putting questions in the chat or trying to come off.
And then I have to like interrupt. Yeah.
Exactly. And like I also get that if they have a question pertaining to something that she specifically asked for, but I think if we open it up to people to interrupt and ask questions, that'll just create a whole
Oh, 100%.
snowball thing that we don't want. So if you don't mind, when I say that at the top of the call, I'm sure we'll have stragglers that don't hear that or people that forget or wasn't paying attention when I said it. If you could
I'll just type it in the chat.
That would be amazing. Hey guys, put your questions here or wait to the end of the call and we will do them then.
But I can still hear you, by the way. You're in my AirPods.
Oh,
I'm just going away. I'm just going over here first. Yeah, I'll do that for you. No problem.
Amazing.
Oh, I have some exciting news.
Which it
is, I was with Rebecca earlier and I showed her like I drafted this email to send to like agents to like maybe do not my own recruiting appointment, but like get leads. And I have somebody that's gonna come next week.
Yeah, good for you. Hey, share all that with the team. Like if you find like what's working for you, like share it with the team. Like, and any appointments, if you ever get an appointment that's like maybe Nokomis down to here, I will happily take the appointment. Like we will figure out Siesta Key, same thing. We can set it up with TO and I'm sure it'll be
perfect. Yay.
You can eventually maybe do some of those appointments. Maybe.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
100% later on, but don't stress about that now.
Right. So I was like, yep, slay.
Okay, I hope that, I feel like I need a camera on this monitor because my camera's over here.
I know, right? Because you're, yeah, check yourself out.
I have this huge, I don't know if you like, I have this huge window right here. I don't know if you've seen it.
I see the light and I'm jealous of it. I'm jealous of your natural light you get.
Let me see if I can, it's a huge.
Jelly.
Like, yeah, it's the whole like length of the wall, just about. and there's a guy that like walked by earlier, and Josh is across the hallway from me. So this is his view. And he was like, some guy just like stopped in his tracks and did a double take when he saw you working in there. And I was like, I don't like having that big window for that
No,
reason.
but you're like, maybe like pull it, get a blind.
I'm scared. And this is being recorded already, so we're good on that because they always want us to record everything.
Perfect. Amazing.
Not recording right. Oh, it is recording right now.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's talk I'm just kidding. Say all the bad things about everyone.
Well, I think Kennedy's a little smelly.
I think, yeah, a little stinky.
A little smelly. I don't know. Maybe we should have a meeting about that. No, I'm kidding.
100%. I think we should too.
Um,
Rebecca, you took good notes. I appreciated you like seeing it this way because I've never like seen, I like how you had the questions first. I thought for the first one, I did like the interview first and then I got the questions from her interview, but I like this.
yeah. Oh my gosh, so many notes. So that's why I was saying, like, I hope you can read my chicken scratch because
I read everything because like you caught certain things that I didn't catch. Like that's why I wanted it because I was like, she's gonna have a different perspective than me.
Teamwork.
And I read through everything. All right, is she about 5'2"?
Yep.
And then we will also usually probably just keep everybody in the waiting room until like 1, until she's ready and good to go. Then
right.
Oh, she got her robe.
I did.
Do you love it?
This one's so cute. It's jelly bean, and it literally smells like a Justice lip gloss, but in a good way. You remember those?
Do you like it, like on your lips?
I do actually. This is like a really light pink,
Mm-hmm.
so I like that one. I got like too much stuff from there.
I need to go. You almost convinced me on the glazing milk or whatever.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's like so good.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm the worst shopper to go with because I am that person that's like, well, if you get it, I'll get it.
Yeah, I mean,
if I get it, you have to get it. You have to buy it with me.
Hey, Kennedy, will you make me co-host? Also.
Is it a problem that we're in the same Zoom room? Oh, here she is. Admit. Okay. All right. Rebecca, you are co-host. Well, hello.
Hello.
Hi, y'all.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing
amazing.
Great. Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
That's right. I got my black and white background too, just like y'all.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that.
We're matching.
That's right. I love it. I love it.
All right, so we've got everything set up. We'll start letting agents in about 5 minutes.
Perfect.
And then just the questions that we went over. I came up with some more questions on some things that you had said in the pre-interview, but it's nothing you won't be prepared for to answer.
Great. Now, I know when we talk, and I'm at a standing desk because I got to move around. I'm that one.
I get it.
The opening, when you said tell the story, like, do you want that whole long, all the way from the beginning? Do we have time for that? You want me to Cliff Notes that?
I would Cliff Notes
Yeah.
it. I would just Cliff Notes it because, Cliff Notes it to the point where they really understand your story.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Because it's so wildly important. And then the struggles that you went through and overcame, I think that just sets the stage for, you know what, fail forward, right? Over and over.
Yep. Absolutely. We will title today Friday Failures.
There you go.
We do those in our team meeting where I just tell everybody, where did you fail this week and you learned from it so we can all learn from each other's failures. And so that's a little bit what I'm happy to have my struggles and failures hopefully help others land a little sooner on some clarity.
We had Bold yesterday because we're currently in Bold right now.
Great.
With Hudson Warren, and he's so great. And he had said something about that, and it was like, when you're looking at a successful person, you're actually looking at a really big failure. Like they're not someone that gave up, and they learned from it, and that is why they have achieved the success they've achieved. And I was like, man, I love that perspective of failure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and there's something to like being brave and courageous enough to take action, knowing that it's not always going to be a win. You're going to win or learn. And so many times it is just that learning. And it really it comes back to like you got to take action. You got to go and do something. Be brave and courageous enough to get in the arena and do it. So that's great.
Amazing. And just to let you know the flow, I'm going to go like your early career, the foundation of that, few questions there, and then go into your team building and growth, and how you've achieved that. And then mainly the closing for a cause and like you're giving back and tying philanthropy into your business. So that'll kind of be the order, just to let you know the agenda.
Great. I wore my Care Serve Give t-shirt for you. So
Love that.
Love
Love that.
Well, and I think also it would be real valuable to bring in her relationship and where it began and evolved with Mo and how she was being groomed without her even knowing to
Yep.
oversee the cultural summit.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we got about a minute. We can start letting people in. We'll get started. Okay. Alrighty. I think we can start letting people in, and I'm sure more will join as we
It's all good.
pass this 1 p.m. mark.
That's
Alright.
when everybody clicks on it and they're like, oh, wait, I gotta register.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
probably.
Another 20, 30 seconds. And it's
Exactly
like,
right.
102 is really when we're here.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we'll let a couple more trickle on, and then we will go ahead and get started. Yeah, this is when you're like, where was the link again? I have to go searching my email, and then you get it and you have to register. And so 105.
Great.
It'll be 105 before most, I guess.
It's all good. It's realtor standard time.
Exactly. All right, we got a couple more that just came on. Yes, I can give it another. Okay, well, I guess we can go ahead and get started. I want to be respectful of your time that you've so graciously decided to be here and spend your Friday afternoon with us. And we're so excited to have you here, Miss Vanessa. So I am actually going to give you the floor. I give everybody a little synopsis of how you got your start in real estate, of all the fun stuff, where you're from, where you're based out of, and let everyone get to know you a little bit.
That's awesome. And feel free to record if you want to, if that would be a valuable thing to drop into a library. And I'm just so grateful for this time and want to say thank you to you and everyone on your leadership team for providing an opportunity for people to learn and to share and to grow, because it's such a beautiful part of our culture at Keller Williams, is how we can show up and share our stories and learn from each other. And I think what we'll get to over the course of today is my deep, deep desire to make a positive impact in our industry and in our world through generosity. And I think one of the first things we can do in generosity is share our stories, give people our stories. So I think I'll probably say more about failures than about wins, but how I've learned along the way through those failures. And it sounds like a lot of you folks are in bold right now, which I think is awesome. Great job to be learning based and showing up to that. And that even just yesterday, your bold leader talked a lot about the strength and power of failures. So I'm a big failure in a lot of ways, if we want to think of it that way. And I'm proud of it. So I have been in real estate for almost 21 years now. And I might be a little bit like some other folks on here who maybe did not grow up dreaming about being a realtor. It wasn't their first idea of who they wanted to be when they grew up. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a dancer. And I was a dancer. I stood at the ballet bar 6 days a week from the time I was in kindergarten all the way through past college until I moved to New York City. And dancing was everything to me, absolutely everything. My whole identity was wrapped up in it. So it was really challenging to have my dance career end and then be reinventing and really trying to find my identity beyond that. And so after the dance career ended, I was a waitress and a hostess and a model and an executive assistant. And I did all kinds of jobs, really trying to figure out what I loved and what I wanted to do. And I went on an entrepreneurial journey to become a wedding florist. That was something I started and quickly realized that the profit margins were like terrible, or that I was terrible. I didn't know what I was doing. And so I quit, right? And I knew that I was creative. I knew I had a vision, but I didn't know what to do with it. So then flash forward to, I should back up and say, I did move to New York City, and with my college sweetheart, my husband now of 28 years and together for almost 31 years. And where I was chasing dance, he was an acting major. And so we moved to New York City and spent that decade of exploration of what am I going to do when I grow up together. And he was pursuing his career as an actor. And his career was taking off. And he booked his first big Broadway show and was the lead in this big Broadway show. And I was still like, what am I? Who am I? And so what we did is we told this Broadway show, like, hey, we want to go on the road together. Can I be the merch girl? And so I was really excited to sell the t-shirts for the show in the lobbies of all these theaters across the country. And at the exact same time, we found out I was pregnant with our first child. So went on the road, had a baby, came home from this big Broadway show, and was really craving again direction and meaning and work that now more than ever I could be proud of, and that my child and my family could be proud of. So I turned to my husband and I was like, what do you think I should do? Because sometimes the people closest to us know us better than we know ourselves, right? And he had seen me journey through over a decade of service and entrepreneurial starts and stops, and my love of architecture and design, and dragging him into every open house across the country while we were on tour with that Broadway show. And he said, I really feel like real estate would be great. So a friend of ours worked at a rental agency in New York City in the Empire State Building, and was like, oh my gosh, we're hiring rental agents. You should be a rental agent. I was like, okay, well, I don't know what I don't know, but sure, let's do that. So I became a rental agent, had my license in New York City, and was really excited to do work and provide a service to people that I could be proud of, that would make a difference in their lives, to really serve people. Because that was the thing. I was like, I love service and I love homes, and I think that I can have a positive impact. So I get started, and my husband's staying home, remember, with that baby we came home with, and in between auditions is, you know, like carrying the newborn around, and I'm going to work as a rental agent. And I was so excited. The very first client I was able to help get her apartment. And there's this young professional lady getting her first place on her own. And I walk into the management office and I hand in the commission check and all the paperwork and all the things to close out the file. And the manager looks at me and was like, great job on the double dip. And I was like, excuse me? And she said, great job. See, that particular building pays the broker commission, but then the tenant also paid the broker commission. So we just got the double dip. Good job. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to throw up. Like, I can't what? I can't believe I was just a part of that. So I went home and I immediately said, I can't do this. This is not the industry for me. This is, nothing about this is in line with my morals, my values, and the difference that I want to make. I'm out. And at the exact same time, some dear friends of ours, as I was confiding in them about this, they're like, wait. Like, don't quit yet. Don't quit yet. We just bought a house and our realtor is actually looking to hire an assistant. Maybe instead of rentals, you want to go into sales. And so I was like, okay, maybe, but it has to feel different, and it has to be more in line with the difference I want to make in people's lives. So I interviewed with this top agent, and we had a 20-minute interview, which is not career visioning if you know how that model goes. But she basically said, I want to retire in a couple of years, so I'd love to hire you to be my assistant. I'll train you, I'll mentor you, and I'll pass my business off to you. And my whole book of business, my whole database will be yours. And then I'll get a referral on it once I'm retired, and it'll be a win-win. Now, she didn't know win-win the way we do. And I thought it was going to be a win-win. So I said, yes. Went back to real estate school, got my license again, now in New Jersey, started all over again with her. And my gosh, did I learn a lot. As her assistant, she taught me the paperwork and negotiations and how to run an open house and inspections. And I just got this incredible knowledge. And I was several months in, and I was like, okay, I'm doing this for free because someday she's going to retire, and she's going to hand me some business here soon, some clients I can serve and to provide for my family. And it just wasn't happening. And got 8 months in, and she was sharing with me that she got these new clients, and I was like, oh, this is it. She's gonna let me serve these people. She's like, yeah, they want to be in Maplewood. They need a 4-bedroom. Their budget isn't so great, and they want a pool. I don't even know what to do with them. I guess I'll give them to an agent in the office. I was like, what am I doing here? Well, what have I been doing for the last 8 months? And it became very clear at that time that she did not have any intention of retiring. She didn't have any intention of passing on her book of business. And I had a choice. It was that I could just allow that to continue, or I could quit. And so I said, okay, I went home again to my husband. I quit. I failed. I failed as a rental agent because I didn't do enough deep dive on that. I failed now because this relationship is, and this is again, morals and values, and I feel deceived and it's not what I thought it would be. And again, he said, no, please don't quit. I believe in you. And no, this is not the way you should have been treated. And this is not the way you would conduct business. And yet what you've just gotten is a master's in real estate. Over the course of the last year, you have learned more about real estate than we could have ever hoped for. It is time for you to launch your own business and go set up shop and be the kind of agent that you want to be, that makes a difference in the world and does it with such good intentions for people and servant-hearted and community-focused and generosity-based and all the things that you want it to be. And let me tell you, we had lived off of our savings account for that year while he was home taking care of our baby, and we were down to nothing. We had $0. And I was like, are you sure I can get a job as an executive assistant again in the city? We need a paycheck. And he said, babe, we will live on credit cards until the commissions come because I know they will. You've got to go do it your way. I believe in you. Again, sometimes we have to listen to the people around us who can see in us more than we can see in ourselves because we're so bogged down by the limiting beliefs, right? Because as a dancer, I was like, well, I can't, I'm not even supposed to be talking. I'm only supposed to be dancing. Like, what do you mean I'm like negotiating things and starting a business? I'm not a business person. But okay, I was like, I'll do it. So I moved shop by breaking up with that top producer. I had to end my non-compete with her, and she said the way you can stay in business is move to an office, a real estate office, half an hour away from here. Move shop, so to speak, to a place where you don't overlap with me, and I'll let you stay in business. So I did. I moved to a town where we knew one family. And I walked into the office and I set up my desk and I set up my computer. I hung up my quote that says, put people first and success follows. I got all my office supplies lined up. I fired up the modem. It was a million years ago. And I was gonna get to work. And in the door walked these two women who, thank God, that day they walked straight up to my cubicle and they looked so mad, but I am grateful for them because of what they said to me that day. They leaned over the cubicle, they looked around the desk, very smug, but it's just who they are, said, you're gonna make $100,000 this year. I was like, hi, I'm Vanessa. What's your name? Why did you say that? And they were like, well, nobody comes in and sets up their office like that, like they're about to get to work and doesn't make $100,000. Welcome to the office. We're Fran and Randy. You have any questions at all, just ask us. We're here to help. You're gonna do great. And that is like a moment that seared into my soul forever, because again, I didn't think I could do it, but they saw enough evidence in the way I was showing up to then encourage me that I was going to do well just in how I had showed up to the room. And I think they knew that thing that we say in Keller Williams, that how you show up here is how you show up everywhere. And so them speaking that into me made all the difference. Now, side note, as we're in this moment, who are you all doing that for? Who are you speaking into where you can see how they're showing up and encourage them in a way that is probably going to change their life, change their career, because it certainly changed mine. And who has said that to you? Like, I have thanked Fran and Randy so many times over the years, and I've thanked my husband so many times over the years. So who do you need to thank at the end of today for that encouragement, and who can you go encourage? So from there, that's when I really got started, I would say. To answer your question with a very long answer, I finally was like at that desk, ready to get to work. And within 90 days, I had multiple homes pended with amazing families I was getting to serve. And just a few years later, I ended up becoming the #1 single agent for that particular 3-office franchise, which included the office half an hour away where she was still sitting.
Amazing. That's amazing to hear. Thank you for sharing all of that, because I know that where you are now and where any successful person is, there is a backstory. There are people that helped you get there. Like you said, having such a supportive spouse, and people in your office. So what I'm hearing in that is culture is important, right? The culture of your office and the people you surround yourself with is very important, because that was what that mindset change was to propel you to believing that you could have the success in this industry.
That's right.
Amazing. So you were a very successful solo agent. So where was that shift where you then decided, I need to hire somebody, I need leverage in my life, I need leverage in my business? And how did you discover that? And at what point did you know that you wanted to grow beyond being a solo agent and build a team?
Yeah. So I had the distinct privilege of doing a transaction with another agent, a co-broke, that I fell madly in love with. I mean, she is like the coolest woman you've ever met. I was like, I want to be her when I grow up. I loved everything about the way she did the transaction, about the way she navigated all of it. And I was pregnant with my 3rd child shortly after that transaction, and completely overwhelmed, working 7 days a week, answering every call, like doing, I couldn't, looking back, I can't believe how much I had on my plate, totally overwhelmed. And I was having a broker open house for agents to come preview my new listing, and I just found out I was pregnant with the 3rd. And I called her and I was like, I don't know if you would be willing to do this with me, but can we just be a team? I need help. So I did not follow the model. Like, I really messed up. I hired a buyer's agent first. And we were so like committed to each other. And I would like to share that we're going on 16 years in business together since that phone call. So I mention her because everything that we'll talk about from a growth standpoint over the last 16 years, she has been a part of and been the spirit animal of our team, and an amazing, again, encourager along the way. But she said, yes, absolutely, let's do it. And then I started hearing about Keller Williams, and we had been at a red, white, and blue balloon company up until that time, where the solution to every problem was, we'll just go sell another house. I was like, but how do you, what I'm telling you is I'm burned out. I'm working 7 days a week. I don't know how to manage all of this. Well, I don't know, just go sell another house. That's not what I need. And I'd heard about Keller Williams that there were agents who took a day off, and I did not know how that could possibly be possible. So I told Sherry, I was like, I'm going to call Keller Williams. I'm going to see what they have to say, because maybe we can take a day off. And so I called that team leader and just said, I need to know what's, like, I see red signs popping up around town. I see there's something different about your agents and the way they're able to, live their lives. Can we have a conversation? And she was the first person in my business career, my adult career, that just said, yeah, we sat down and she said, Vanessa, what do you need as a human being? What do you need and want? And it was real small to begin. It was, I need a day off. Like, my husband's starring in all these Broadway shows, so he works nights and weekends, and now I'm working weekends and answering calls at all hours of the night. Like, this is not working for my family. So let's start small. I need a day off, and I of course want to be in an environment where there's a culture of encouragement and sharing and kindness and caring, because those other environments were not okay. But then they led me to this one, and I was grateful because she said, I think you're going to enjoy the culture of Keller Williams. I think it's a good fit. And she said, all right, if you need a day off, I want to put you on a growth path to team building. I was like, I don't know that I want to have a team. And she was like, I know, it's okay. Just stay open and learning based. And let's just start taking some classes so that you don't know what you don't know yet. And then you can build it. But really, we've got this model at Keller Williams: leads, listings, leverage. And when you have the leverage in your world, that's when then you can, maybe you'll get that day off. But let's just start on the growth path. Oh, and by the way, read the MREA. And I was like, okay. And I think I was so burned out at that point because I came to that meeting and I think back and it was like, okay, I had a newborn, a toddler, a 7-year-old, and a drinking problem. So I was like ready to submit to, like, please just tell me what I need to do, right? So when she said, take these classes and read this book, I was finally at a place to be humble enough to be like, I'm obviously not doing it the way it needs to be done. So let's, let me read the book. Let me take the classes. And that was like huge for me. So I read the MREA book, and then I turned to Sherry and I was like, oh no, I did it all wrong. I was supposed to hire an admin first. And we both just laughed, and she just very lovingly was like, it's okay. Like, we're going to find our way into this model together. And so we did. We hired we joined Keller Williams, read the MREA, started on, this growth path, hired my first assistant, and really took to heart that I could have someone doing the administrative heavy lifting for me so that I could start to think about relationship building and building, a generosity-based business so that it would have that positive impact, so that it could be symbolic of my desire to make a positive impact in the industry and in our community. And then it's just grown from there. But that first hire was not the model, and then we backed into it, and then we grew from there.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for sharing that. So that was your start with building a team, the catalyst to, okay, I need leverage. And this is the model of what proven success looks like from agents that have come before me, and I don't have to go out and reinvent the wheel.
That's right.
You then pursued that. And so now it's 2025, and you said you've been in business with Sherry for over 16 years, which is amazing, and in real estate longer. So now building your team, how do you develop and retain top talent within your team?
Yeah. So I heard Gary say a long time ago that if your business burns really bright, it will attract people to it. I'm not a recruiter. I have so much respect for team leaders whose job is to recruit and retain. And I just don't have the recruit ship. So I listened to Gary and I was like, let's just burn so bright that people will come to us and want to be a part of our mission. And so when I started on that growth path, one of the first classes that I took was actually Quantum Leap. And that class teaches you how to be a better human being, but it also helps you define your mission, your vision, your values, your beliefs, and your perspective. And so really putting words to the MVVBP for our business, for my business, allowed me to start operating in a way that would attract the right people. So next thing I knew, Sherry and our admin at the time, we were able to start communicating that mission, vision, and those values. And that's when agents started gravitating towards us and raising their hand and saying, wait, you're doing this different. This is you're approaching this not as sales, but as service, and with, you know, these values of caring for people and for giving back. I want to be a part of it. So I really made sure that I communicated that at the highest level at the beginning to attract the right people, and again have done, I mean, very little recruiting over the years. And then the retention piece of it is a vital part of just our, again, really determining those core values of the business and not only applying them to our clients in the community, but internally applying that to the people on the team. So yeah, it was being on that growth path that helped me define it so that we could burn bright enough so that the right people would join. And then we would have people who, like Sherry for 16 years, Denise, who's, you know, just an unbelievable human being, and top producer who's been with me for 10 years, and Kevin's been with me for 7 years. And it really, when you're in alignment on those values, all of a sudden it's, that becomes the glue that holds you all together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. One thing that I wanted to ask, because you said it in our pre-interview call earlier in the week, about being learning based, about always prioritizing your education and stressing that to your team as well. What role would you say has coaching, training, or mentorship played in your team's success?
Yeah. I mean, those are the biggest roles, I think. Both coaching and mentorship have made the biggest difference for me. So right after I joined Keller Williams, I took Quantum Leap, and I actually got to take it with Mo Anderson. And Mo was the very first CEO of our company. And for people who don't know Mo, Gary hired her to be the first CEO, and bucket fell to him for hiring the first woman in the real estate industry to be CEO. And bucket fell to her for her incredible execution of his vision to grow the company from 2,000 people to 50,000 people as she was CEO. So I was able to take Quantum Leap with her, and we had a mutual friend who introduced us so that I actually got to have a meal with her when I was there to take Quantum Leap. And listening and learning from her was mind-blowing to me. And when I took that class with her, I'll be totally honest with you, I was like new to being learning based. I hadn't really taken classes of any sort since college till I joined Keller Williams. And all of a sudden I realized, I was like, oh, I love this. If I can go learn something and even implement one thing, it makes a big difference. And for that Quantum Leap, I realized that I'd shown up for that class nervous to meet Mo, but mostly I was nervous because I was really, really gonna try not to drink alcohol while I was at that 2-day session, that 2-day class with her. And it was like this weird thing where I was like, my 3 kids are at home, and normally I get them all to bed, and but I'm just not, because I want to have all my wits about me and I want to be present. I don't want to miss anything. And then you take that class, and the class really cracked me open and made me realize I was not the wife, mother, business owner, or woman of faith that I knew I could be. And so the one thing from that class I took away was, okay, what's standing in my way? Like what's blocking me from my truest growth and potential? And I knew that it was my drinking. And so that was July 23rd, 2012 that I took my last drink, and I've been sober ever since. And a big part of it was being able to be in that learning environment, be open to not like the lesson I was learning, but to know that it's what I had to do, and then to taking action on it. And so I then was so blessed to be able to continue this relationship with Mo. And so she's really poured into me over the years as a mentor, and having her wisdom really shaped the early formation of the business along with my MAPS coach. And so they in tandem they didn't even know each other, but I was listening to my MAPS coach who very quickly was like, hey, let's set a big sales goal. And I was like, I don't do sales. Like, that's not my jam. I know it's real estate, but can we approach this in a different way? And she was like, well, what does excite you? And I said, well, giving back and being servant hearted and really caring about people. And she's like, great. So we'll make a giving goal and we'll work the numbers back from there. So I had a coach who was coaching me to who I am and my most authentic self and what motivates me and gets me going. Sorry, I'll lower my hand. And then I had Mo, who was also mentoring and kind of gave me a roadmap back then. And I'll never forget. And if y'all are new to the business, like, write this down because I think it's applicable to anyone. Mo said, all right, I want you to go home and I want you to read all the leadership books by John Maxwell. I want you to get on your ALC in your market center because you're not actually there to serve the market center is actually there to serve you, but get in there so that they can pour into you. Third, I want you to lead the culture committee within your market center so that you can really live out, this desire that you have to make a difference. And fourth, she said, go get your team to 40 million. And at the time, Sherry and I were like, I don't know, maybe we were somewhere between 8 and 10 million when we joined Keller Williams. And then I was maybe at about 15 million when I had that conversation with Mo. And when she said 40 million, I was like, what? I don't even know. So I had to go back to the MREA, reread that, go, okay, now we actually are on this org chart growth and what do I need to do next to get the team there? And so I spent the next couple of years with my MAPS coach helping lead me and this mentor cheering me on. And a couple years later, I woke up in January and I finished out my numbers for the year before. And I was like, oh my gosh, we did it. We got to 40 million. We did it. And so I was able to tell Mo that January, like, hey, thank you for that roadmap. I want to tell you, not to brag, but just to be accountable to you that I did those things and we passed the 40 million. And it actually wasn't about the 40 million, was it? It was about who I became along the way, what I figured out about who I am and how I want to build this business, what I want this business to stand for. And so I got to thank her for that because it was during that season that I really systematized and became a very loud brand advocate for our team, whose values, I wore my t-shirt for you, are care, serve, and give. And it was on that growth that we really just said, we are here to care for clients and community, serve at the highest level in our industry, and give back locally and globally. That is our mission and our motto, and everything that we do is going to revolve around that. And it was during that time that I was then nominated to become a cultural ambassador, and I got to walk the stage in 2014 wearing my sash, and really then start thinking even bigger. So that had gotten me to 40 million, but becoming a cultural ambassador, reporting that back to Mo, having my MAPS coach, then I was like, oh wait, this is just the beginning. We've got a long ways to go. I got to think a lot bigger and take this to the next level even. But without the coach and the mentor, no, I none of it would have happened. The first domino down was me acknowledging, like, I had an issue that was holding me back, giving that up, and then listening to people being coachable and being learning based, and going out and implementing along the way. That made all the difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's amazing and incredible. When you shared that with me on the pre-interview call with Mo, I mean, I was just so in awe. That is such an accomplishment. And so now I want to go to, you mentioned a few times, especially in some of the answers earlier, especially about attracting people to your team and retaining them. And I'm sure this is the same with your clientele. Your closing for calls and giving back is now in the DNA of what you do in your business. So I'd love for you to share the origin story of this to everybody on the call, and how you are where you are now because of it.
Yeah, thank you. So, I'm a student of the MREA, and when I really wanted to have a generosity-based business, I realized that we don't have the give model inside of the book. So that's where I think in terms now of models and systems, and I wanted to create a generosity model for any team really to be able to implement. But it started out, just organically within our team. And because I'd quit drinking, I realized that I had been coming to closings with a bottle of champagne or a bottle of wine, and all of a sudden I was like, okay, wait, I'm not going to do that anymore. That's just not me. And so I realized like, oh, I want to do something that is about my clients, and I want to inspire generosity in them. So I started asking my clients, hey, what is your charity of choice? And instead of a cutting board or a bottle of champagne, I'm going to make a donation to that charity just as a thank you and a welcome home for putting your trust in our team. And doing that was just remarkable because people felt seen, they felt heard, they felt honored. The charities that were coming out were usually subjects and nonprofits that touched their families personally, like research hospitals because their child had been sick and I never knew, or local food pantries because they had a friend who had been in a season of need and needed to get groceries from there, or maybe it was them at one time. So I realized how deep and personal and meaningful that was for people. And that became the first thing that we started doing pretty systematically and consistently. And that's actually what got me nominated as a cultural ambassador, because our ability to be generous in that way was kind of, getting, noticed. And at the same time, I'd also realized that I didn't want to spend any marketing money on anything that wasn't going to benefit our community or schools or local nonprofits. So I just made a decision and I said, all of our marketing dollars have to be mutually beneficial to the community. So no billboards, no shopping carts. We're not going to spend any money that doesn't have some sort of mutual benefit to, again, the community, schools, nonprofits. And that began so much sponsorship and so many opportunities for us to give back and be involved in events. And that was really then revealing that, oh my gosh, that could be our lead generation, right? That we can, because y'all, I don't cold call. I don't door knock. And again, for a girl who does not like sales in real estate, I needed to find a way to be in touch with my database that felt organic and authentic to my values and to who I am. So being a part of these events and sponsoring these events then became a way to pick up the phone and connect with people and build those relationships. And then really the third piece of it became this desire to create our own nonprofit. And I don't know if you want me to talk about that quite yet, but Closing for a Cause was the gift giving at closing that really kicked it all off. And then as we began to formulate our whole mission of Care, Serve, Give, it all kind of came together. But that really was the beginning. Just, well, I don't drink. I'm not giving you a bottle of wine, so let me make a donation.
Oh, that's super impactful because, like you said, you get to learn about your clients and maybe ways where their child being diagnosed with this 2 years
That's
ago, or them having a similar
Yep.
issue, substance or something like that. You get to
Yes.
learn these things, and then they'll never forget that.
That's right.
That you donated, and that now you know that piece of information. And why would they choose another realtor if
Yeah.
they know you and your heart and you giving back to your community in that way?
Well, I love that you said that, because part of then what I did during that time was a lot of research on generosity. And what I learned is that the number one indicator that a child will grow up to be more generous as an adult is if they grow up around generous role models who talk about generosity. So part of it was, and it's in our communication plan as a team, is we ask our clients, go home and discuss this charity choice as a family. Include your kids, like make it a family decision. So we're planting seeds in the next generation that maybe that family, maybe they do give back a ton already, but if they don't, like, we get to know that we made a positive impact in the lives of those kids because that family got to have a conversation about giving back that maybe they would have never had before. And that then became something that I also realized, oh, wait, my kids, when I go to work, they're watching how our team is operating in this community. And when we sit down for family dinner and they say, how was your day? And I'm able to talk about generosity because of my business, I go all the way back to, I had that newborn and was like, I want to do something that's meaningful and makes a difference in the world. And I want this kid to be proud of me. The approaching business in this way has been super meaningful just for our family dinners and for me to feel like I've made a difference and hopefully impacted them in a positive way.
Absolutely. So, can you share the impact that this has had since you started it, the impact it's had on your clients, your team, and I'm sure your community as well?
Yeah, it's really been profound, and I didn't know how much the community had realized what we stood for until COVID hit. And in 2020, when everything shut down initially, those first few months, I told our whole team, I said, we're on Zoom every day. We're bulletproofing the transactions we have. And until new business starts showing up, we're going to apply our systems and logistics brains to creating face shields for healthcare heroes. And we're going to go out and distribute face shields and just stay busy and active and working. And when real estate comes back, we'll get to it. Well, we included the community in that initiative. And what I didn't realize is that the whole community already knew that Care, Serve, Give were the values that they could count on from us. But then when they saw us take action in that way at that time, they knew even more so that we were there to help. We were helpers, and I think Mr. Rogers said, find the helpers, right? And I think that they knew that more than ever. So in 2020, our business doubled from 50 million to 100 million in 1 year. And I think it truly is because of how we showed up to live out our values. And the other piece of it that I think has been so profound for us is, I built this model where it's like, okay, I'm going to give back where my client is passionate, and I'm going to support the community in all of its events and initiatives and needs through sponsorship. But then the third piece of it, if it's a triangle, like the leads listings leverage triangle, it's like clients is closing for a cause, events and community sponsorships. That's the next part. But the third arm on the triangle was, what about what I'm passionate about? Right? And how do I want to make a difference? And so almost 11 years ago, when again, I want to go back to failure, and I want to go back to how many times I've tried to quit. I got to a place where I wanted to quit. I was so burned out. I was so tired. And I decided that I needed to do something that felt particularly meaningful for me, to give me more meaning and more connection to the business. And married to a Broadway star. I was a dancer, and our oldest came home from school one day, and we already knew that this one was a musician, could see it, could hear it, all the things, and came home from 5th grade and said, I want to sign up for orchestra, handed us the instrument rental form, and we were like, this is great. Is everybody in your class doing it? And Hudson said, I think everybody who can afford the instrument. And we knew in that moment that there was a gap in our community that absolutely broke our hearts. And we wanted to fill that gap. And so we decided in that moment that our generosity, yes, would be to the client's choice, and yes, to the community, but that we were going to step in as a business and a family and fill the gap and the need in our school district to be sure that every single student had access to orchestra and band instrument rentals if they couldn't afford it, so that those kids felt seen and loved and worthy, and that there was total access and equity to walk into music class with all of their peers and have that education. And so the impact of starting basically a music initiative that now is called the Pollock Arts Initiative 11 years ago, where we have now funded over 1,000 instrument rentals over the last decade in our district. And we've resourced music and arts teachers with their supplies and funded grants for them. And we've put 70 students now through private music education for kids in our district who the teachers said, this kid's really got something, and we need them to be encouraged, right? When the teachers see it in them, just like my husband saw it in me and Fran and Randy saw it in me. The teachers see it in these kids, and we're able to give them that extra learning-based music lessons. And that the commitment to doing that in our community has probably been the most profound thing that I feel like our business has been able to do. Yes, we're number one in our market, and we're a 100 million team, and I'm super proud of that. But the thing I really love is that when we leave the room, it's not about our sales. People are talking about our generosity, and they're talking about our arts initiative, and how we've made a difference in the community in such a positive way. And to be honest, it just makes the phone ring then, because you got to be both excellent at real estate and giving back. Like, hear me when I say that you can't just, it can't just be care, serve, give without, excellent real estate service. That is the serve and care, serve, give. But people know we're number one. They know we provide incredible service and create, the most beautiful homes that they ever see on Zillow. And then because they see our name time and time again in the community with all of our community support and our arts initiative, they just pick up the phone and they say, come list me. So kind of like I don't like to recruit and I don't like to lead gen, it all works out because the model attracts the right people to the team, and people pick up the phone and call us to serve them with their real estate needs because of the care, serve, give way of doing business.
I love that. And I can definitely see why. I mean, when people see that, they really relate to that, and they want to be a part of it. So I want to open the floor up to some questions, but before we do that, I want to ask you one more. Has there been anything that we have not gone over that you would like to share? I know there's so much to go over, and we only have an hour, unfortunately, to pick your brain. But what are some other things, tricks or anything like that you want to leave these agents with as we leave this call, and then they can ask some questions?
Yeah, I love that. I would say I needed to humbly submit to best practices of the models and systems inside of the MREA. That single agent that I was for those 7 years that led to a drinking problem and just chaos was because she thought she knew best. She thought, well, it's my way or the highway. I'm the most creative person. I have to do it. I. And it took me saying, okay, let me humbly say that this is not working. Read the MREA and implement these best practices, internalize them and customize them to my values. But read the MREA, get a coach, listen to mentors, go on a growth plan in terms of being learning based, and then mostly implement. Go try things, like put it into action. Because if you're learning based and you go and do nothing, then the last hour we spent together was just entertainment. And I did not show up today to entertain you. Today is about implementation, because when it's implemented, then it truly is education. So read the MREA, get a coach, and go take action.
Amazing.
And I would say, and I think it's implied in the message today, but as you're doing that, determine your core values. What do you want to be known for? So that when you leave the room, that's what people are talking about. And every decision you make should filter through that. Every action you take should filter through that. And it makes everything so much simpler, because nothing in this industry is easy. But if you can find ways to make it simple, gosh, isn't that helpful? And when it's true and connected to who you are and what you stand for, then it makes it a joy to show up and lead in that way.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I want to open up the floor for anybody that has questions for Vanessa. Feel free to put them in the chat or come off mute, raise your hand, and feel free to ask her whatever you guys are having questions about or struggling with or just intrigued on, because she had some amazing stuff. McKenna.
This is kind of similarly related to your stories that you were saying, because I know you said that you loved to do dance. Do you still incorporate that in your life at all with dancing, because that was such a big passion for you?
Well, I would love to say that I did. However, at 51, things don't quite move the same way they used to, especially after 3 children. However, what I love is that I realized through this growth journey that my dancing was just one facet of my creativity. And that there's so much creativity in me and in everyone. You can be creative in how you put together a spreadsheet. You can be creative in what socks you choose to put on for the day. You're creative in the way you prepare a meal and present it to your family. And what I realized was that I can bring that creativity to everything that I do. So while I don't dance anymore, I do surround myself with 5 of the most incredible female leaders across a lot of different industries at my home gym for yoga twice a week. And so that's where my physicality and dance kind of meets yoga as well as community. And so it kind of feels like a dance class in the way we approach it. And it certainly fills my soul to be with them and moving in that way. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And I get to live vicariously through my husband. So, like, because he's done half a dozen Broadway shows now. And y'all, I want to tell you, if you're in New York City, because we serve all of northern New Jersey that's commutable into New York City, he is in The Great Gatsby right now in one of the lead roles as George Wilson. And if you're in the area, you got to see the show. It's a great show, and he'd be happy to meet you and take you backstage. But what's been such a gift for me is that I am able to be a part of the Broadway world through his career, and in a lot of ways don't feel like I really left it, because we're so connected, and it's been such a gift to watch his career unfold.
That's awesome.
Maybe McKenna and I will have to take a trip to New York.
I was gonna say, I want a backstage tour of Broadway. I grew up going to Broadway.
I mean, we're here. He's just about to sign for a 2nd year, so come on. As long as the show's running, we're here.
Kennedy, I think we might have to go.
We're sold. Yep, we're sold.
Great.
Thanks for the question, McKenna. All right, let's see, we got one in the chat here. Good. How do you manage your time? Because you have gone over so much. How do you manage everything?
Yeah, the 6 Personal Perspectives was a really big class for me. And so I would recommend taking that, as well as I think y'all have Business Planning Clinic coming up and QL coming up. And QL changed my life. So if you haven't taken that, please go and take it. But part of all of these classes, we really learned the 80-20 principle. And when I realized my 20% was to stay in that creative zone and stay focused on building relationships that were based on our values and bring the creativity into our design and staging of our homes, I really then was able to take what Gary has taught us all and put that in my calendar. And so I, for years and years, the time block was, I mean, I lived and breathed by it, and I still do. It has changed and morphed as my how I win in for my team has changed, but it's always been time blocked. And as one example, because I think all of us, want to have a lot of listings and want to do a great job so that people will refer us and recommend us to other clients. I had a Friday time block for 3 hours every Friday, that was to call all my sellers. And every single Friday, the call was, hey, how you holding up? Every week. No matter where they were in the transaction, if we were prepping the house, if we were on the market, if we were under contract, hey, how are you holding up? Oh, thank goodness you called. So yes, I was waiting for your call. And then they would just, dump what's on their mind. I would answer all their questions. And then, what would happen? They were good until the next Friday because they knew I was going to call every Friday. And of course, there's communications during the week as well, but they could save those conversations. So they weren't calling me all week. And then, what also wasn't happening? They weren't calling me over the weekend. So then when I did start taking a day off over the weekend, as the team was built, I was like, I got my day off because I was time blocked. I managed bringing great service to my clients at a time that worked for me and for them. And then I could be present with my kids. So I really, really do think that being proactive, setting those appointments in your calendar for what you have to do every week to provide great service to your clients and your team, put it in there. If you have to erase it, please replace it. But live by it, because then all that free time that you will have on your calendar is just so fun and freeing because you did what you needed to do.
I love that. I mean, for so many reasons, that's incredible. Because they know you'll call them that Friday and say, hey, what do you need? And they don't have to bother you through the week, and you do get your weekend. I mean, that is such a great idea.
Well, and I heard that at Family Reunion. I went to a breakout session with Monica Reynolds,
Wow.
and I was like, that is one thing I can go implement. And it changed my life. So again, going back to being learning based, going to Family Reunion, going to Mega Camp, immersing yourself in learning, taking all these notes, and then going back and being like, okay, what's the one thing from that class I can implement and one thing from this class? You don't have to do it all, but that one thing that'll make a difference for you. And that was it for me. And it really, I mean, it was amazing. It was hard. When I was our only lead listing specialist on the team in those early years, Sherry was buyer's agent and I was lead listing agent. We were like gunning for that 40 million. It would be 17 phone calls or more, right? And I would just like make my bunker, as we know, like get my water, get my snacks, get what I need to do, like stand up, walk around, but crank through those calls. And then my weekend was mine. My phone never rang.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. And with Family Reunion coming up in a little bit, it's on our side of the coast this year. Those breakout sessions are amazing for that reason. So does anybody else have any other questions? We are right at our ending time, so I want to be respectful of Vanessa's time. So if we don't have any more questions, then Vanessa, thank you so much. We are incredibly grateful for your candor, your wisdom, your expertise. I know that our agents and leadership have gotten so much out of this call. And we have the recording of it and have this for many agents to come. So thank you for your impact in your community and taking the time to share with us that. So thank you so much.
Well, I
Thank
appreciate
you.
y'all. I'm so honored that you asked. I would love if y'all will kind of do a survey in your market center of what's the one thing everyone who was in attendance today is going to go do. I'd love to hear it because, again, I don't want this just to have been entertainment. I want this to make a difference in your lives, in your businesses, in your families, and in your communities. So just gather that up, and I'm just going to hold you accountable to send me some feedback on that. And thank you for being learning based and open and adding so much value to your agents and your leadership here and being so intentional about pouring into your people the way you are. I'm honored and I don't know, I love the sunshine, so maybe I'll come to Florida sometime. Y'all come to Broadway and I'll come down there.
Sounds
Well,
good to
we'll do
me.
that exchange. It's perfect. All right. Well, again, thanks for everybody for being on this call. Thank you again to Vanessa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you guys need anything, you know where to find us. And I'm sure Vanessa would be open to reaching out for questions or concerns or something like that as well.
Yep.
Well, other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Thanks so much, Vanessa.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.